fellow St. Lucians, this is Openmike, and we're back to the second segment of our program. When we left off, we were discussing the position with the state of our bridges in St. Lucia, and we're going to focus quickly on the Shock Bridge, which, as we all know, was severely compromised in Thomas, and it's not in great shape, and it will have to be addressed. And my concern now is, how is it going to be addressed? Because of the span of the Shock River, it's quite large, and I'm now going to ask the former engineer, Mr. Arnold, to give me a little insight of how did he see, or what were the plans in his time in handling this bridge.
Okay, the thing is, all of these bridge, well, I shouldn't call it bridges, but these crossings, these river crossings that have been failing us in the last couple of years, of all of a similar type. They're what we call the AMCO pipes, the metal pipes. It's an aluzinc coated metal spiral pipe that was installed, more than 30 years ago. And over the last 10 years or so, the ministry has been involved in changing out a lot of them that have been failing, especially along the Castries-Grosley Highway, like the ones by Digicel headquarters at Grosley, that was changed. Mm-hmm. The one at the bottom of the Shock Hill by Salmons Park, that one was changed. There's also another one higher up by John Odlum's house, that was also changed. Right. So all of these covered crossings are of a similar nature. The ones that you talked about, the one by JQ Mall, yes, that is also AMCO pipe crossing. Right. The one by American Drywall, yes, that is of a similar nature, and the one by the airport by Avis, yes, place there, that is of all of these are the similar type. All of these crossings are showing similar signs of failure, whereby the bottom part where the water is in constant contact with the sidewalls, they are being corroded, and as a result of that, when that metal wears down, it starts to cave in, and you get these sinks in the road. So what the ministry has done is that they've developed a bridge replacement program that started many years ago, and it is continuing. And as fast as funds are made available, then these bridges are replaced. However, we always knew that we would have to replace Shock and Bardwell Bridge, especially more so the Bardwell Bridge, because it was showing signs of failure long before. But Thomas just exacerbated the problem, and we had to do something. We had to do it right away. Had we left the bridge as it was, it would not have made another hurricane season. Okay. So that is why the priority was given to Bardwell Bridge, okay, to be replaced over the Shock Bridge. And the nice thing about the Bardwell Bridge is that the bypass road was created to help facilitate the construction of that road. With the Shock Bridge now, you have a bit of a challenge in the sense that, do you create a temporary road over the river to facilitate the demolition and construction of the new bridge there? Or do you take into consideration that you have the existing network within close proximity to that area that you can utilize for the free flow of traffic? However, that has its challenges. So one of the things that was being looked at the time was the question of keeping that bridge open during the construction process and building a new bridge right next to it, side by side, and then realign the road afterwards. Is that something that you would recommend? It is feasible. Yes, you'd actually be saving in that regard. However, we must take into consideration the question that there might be some land acquisition, yes, because you'd have to be realigning the road to going back to the roundabout and to northbound. So you have to. It comes back to what I was saying earlier on. Yeah. You look for the best case scenario of the least cost. So it is something that you would consider. Well, the engineer would exactly. The engineer during the design process will take all these things into consideration.
Now, Lester, on a more sensitive issue, the comments made by the present Prime Minister of Infrastructure that some $90 million in contracts were handed out to various individuals during your term of office. How correct is this information, and what are the facts in regard to this statement?
Well, I heard that statement when I was it kind of took me by surprise. Way the things was handled at the time of Thomas. Immediately following the passage of Hurricane Thomas, equipment was mobilized island-wide to start with the clearing process and whatnot. After the very first week, we stopped all the equipment from working. We did an assessment to see where we were at, because the rate at which the equipment was working, we'll be able to clear quite a bit within a 1 week time frame. We had persons submit their invoices and things of that sort because they were working on an hourly basis. In some places, we had equipment working round the clock, 24 hours a day. So after the first week, we continued with the hourly rentals of equipment to facilitate the opening of various roads. Attention was paid more or less to the primary road network, which was the Castries Vieux roads, both via the East Coast and the West Coast. Mm-hmm. And as a result of that, you found majority of equipment in those areas were paid on an hourly basis. After the first month or so, what we did was that a lot of the roads were opened up and things of that sort. The major primary networks were primary and secondary road networks were open. So we then decided that instead of having equipment work on an hourly basis, it was better for them to work on a contractual basis. So what the technical staff did was that they went out, they quantified the works that needed to be done in order to put everything back to normalcy in terms of having all the slides cleared, all the drains cleared, and everything of that sort. And contracts were developed for for those works. If my memory serves me correct, up until the Christmas of that year, we paid out just around $19 million.
19.
Yeah, 19.
Yeah.
In terms of contractual works and hourly paid equipment, which would have been based upon invoices submitted by the various equipment owners. And at the end of the financial year in 2010, which would have been the 2011 period, March of 2011, if my memory serves me correct, we had a total of about $24 million or thereabout paid out, but which was inclusive of reconstructive works in terms of the Ansgallet Bridge crossing, the Monrepo crossing, and some of these other reconstruction works that took place. So that is where these whole things, the way it was done. Yeah. So it wasn't a question of everything being given out as contract.
So the figure of $90 million is preposterous.
Well, to me, if my memory serves me correct, I think it was 19 million, he said, okay, not 90.
Okay. Wait, is that what the minister said, 19 or 19?
To me, it was 19, but like I said.
But question for you, and how many contractors or subcontractors were involved in all those works to the best of your knowledge?
There's quite a few, because what we did was that we tried to get things done in the shortest space of time. So persons with equipment were working. Like I said, they were both. Some was done on an hourly basis in the immediate period following the passage of the hurricane, and some was done on a contractual basis later on down in the game. I think maybe about, like I said, after the first month or so. Some of the smaller works in terms of like when you had drains to be cleared or culverts to be cleared and whatnot, these were given to other smaller contractors and whatnot. So it was a mixture of equipment owners and vis-a-vis small petty contracts that were given out.
So, if you had to revisit today what you had done in your term of office as far as Thomas is concerned, you probably were looking at maybe $24–25 million was spent to the best
up until the end of the financial year of the 2010-2011 period.
Okay, fine, good. Tell me something now. We noticed still we have areas in the Bexon Valley that continue to be flooded, even though they're small showers. I'm told that the river beds are approximately 3 feet above their normal height prior to Thomas. Would that be correct?
Yes, I would say so. The way we have to understand river hydraulics, and the basic thing is that in the upper reaches of rivers, where you have steep valleys or steep slopes, you have erosion taking place. And when you get down to the valleys where the slopes are a lot flatter, you have deposition taking place. And you could actually notice, if you walk through a river channel, you could actually see where erosion is taking place and where deposition is taking place. Following the passage of Hurricane Thomas, when I did the aerial reconnaissance of all of the watersheds in and around St. Lucia, what we noticed was that every single watershed had severe, or I should say massive landslides in those watersheds. And what you'd find happen is that every little bit of rain that falls, that material would be washed down and brought down in the river.
Yeah.
So to have all of that material removed, it is not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
It's going to take a couple of years.
I have a very important question for you, which I will pose in the third segment of my program. This is Open Mic, and we'll be right back.